Ladies and gentlemen, there is a river beneath your life, silent and steady, a current not bound by the hours on your watch or the ticking of the world's demands. It flows beneath every breath you take, every detour you judge, every waiting room you resent. It is the current of divine timing. And though it may not move by the logic of your calendar, it has never once failed to arrive on time. You have been taught to believe in deadlines and timetables in the race to get ahead, but the soul does not run on clocks. The soul unfolds like the seasons, effortless, inevitable, and impossibly wise. It does not bloom just because the world says now. It blooms because the light within has found its perfect hour to rise. You are not behind. You have never been behind. That ache you feel when things haven't arrived yet, that is not failure. That is your deeper knowing preparing you to receive. It is not a punishment. It is a pause, a divine breath waiting for you to come into alignment with what has always been yours. Imagine a tree scolding itself for not blooming in January. Imagine the moon grieving for not being full every night. Nature knows better than to rush. It trusts the rhythm of its becoming, and so must you. There is something happening in the unseen that your senses cannot yet grasp. Doors are forming where there were only walls. Seeds are stirring beneath the soil of your life, gathering the strength to break through, not because you pushed, but because you trusted. Because you stopped clawing at the timing and began surrendering to the wisdom of your own becoming. You have mistaken delay for denial. But delay is often the divine's greatest act of love. It is not saying no, it is saying not yet. You are not being kept from it. You are being prepared for it. And what is being prepared is not just the blessing, it is you. You are not waiting for life to begin. Life is waiting for you to shade the illusions that block its light. You think you need to make it happen. But the truth is, life is not something to be forced into form. It is something to be allowed, received, aligned with. There is a deeper intelligence weaving through your days, a wisdom that transcends effort. It is not passive. It is profoundly active, though invisible, like the tide that moves without being asked, or the stars that rise without being summoned. This intelligence does not miss appointments. It does not lose track of you. It does not forget your name. You are part of its design, not separate from it. And every so-called delay in your life has been the universe's way of saying, wait, there is more coming than you can yet imagine. And it will not arrive in a rush. It will arrive when you are ready to receive, not with your hands, but with your whole being. The ego demands timing. The soul requires trust. The ego stamps its foot and says, why not now? But the soul smiles softly and whispers when the time is ripe, and there is no greater freedom than resting in that ripeness. Then knowing that even in your stillness, you are being moved towards something sacred. Even in your setbacks, you are being redirected to a more aligned path. There have been moments you thought you missed it. The job, the person, the moment that seemed like your only chance. And yet here you are, not ruined, not forsaken, but growing in ways that could not have happened if life had gone your way. Sometimes unanswered prayers are the truest form of grace. Do you think the ocean worries about reaching the shore fast enough? It does not. It knows it cannot be late for its own arrival. It simply moves in rhythm with the moon and touches every grain of sand in time. So too with your life. You do not need to rush. You need to root. You need to trust that what is yours will not pass you. It cannot, because it was never outside of you. It was always being drawn to the frequency of your being. The more you trust, the more you align. The more you align, the more you magnetize what already belongs to you. The world will try to convince you that you must hustle for your worth, that you must achieve, become, impress, perform. But the divine does not operate in the currency of urgency. The divine operates in presence and surrender, in the deep, unwavering peace that says, I may not see it yet, but I know it is already on its way. You are not the architect of your destiny. You are the witness of it unfolding. You are not the builder of time. You are the dweller of eternity. What you call delays, the divine calls preparation. What you call detours, the divine calls redirection. What you call failure, the divine calls refinement. And when you look back, and you will see that not one delay was wasted. Not one no was cruel. Every twist was a turning. Every pause was a pulsing of the sacred heart within you, timing your arrival, not for the world's applause, but for your soul's awakening. Let go of your grip on the clock. Release the pressure to be anywhere other than here. Now is not the enemy of your dreams. It is the cradle in which they are formed. Now is not late. Now is the divine, and the divine is never late. Then breathe now not as a habit, but as a remembrance. Let this breath not be rushed, not forced, not taken for granted, but received as a sacred whisper of life reminding you that you are already in the flow. There is no step you have missed. There is no moment that should have come sooner. You are inhaling right on time. Divine timing is not a destination. It is the pulse of the infinite moving through your veins. It does not operate on your ambition, but on your alignment. It listens not to your impatience, but to your readiness. And readiness is not a matter of time. It is a matter of truth. When you peel away the layers of expectation, when you silence the inner voices that insist you must be elsewhere by now, what remains is the profound serenity of being exactly where your soul chose to be. And in that being, you do not find delay, you find depth. Have you noticed how the universe never hurries? The stars were not born in haste. The mountains did not rise overnight. And your becoming this sacred unfolding of your spirit is not meant to be a sprint, but a sacred unfolding of eternal wisdom expressing itself through time. You were not born to outrun your destiny. You were born to merge with it. And merging requires presence. It requires trust in a rhythm that cannot be measured by clocks or calendars, but only by the resonance in your heart. Do not confuse motion with progress. There are seasons where stillness is the most radical movement, where resting in the unknown is not passivity, but power. It is in those quiet spaces where the world sees nothing happening that the roots of transformation grow deepest. The fruit cannot ripen until the tree has known the quiet dark of soil, the patient work of sun and rain. And so it is with you. You may feel unseen. You may wonder if your path has vanished beneath your feet. But what is happening beneath the surface of your life is more miraculous than you can comprehend. You are not idle. You are incubating. You are not forgotten. You are being fortified. The longer something takes to arrive, the more space is being made within you to receive it. And not merely to receive it, but to become it. For the true miracles are not things we possess, but truths we embody. Your soul is not interested in shallow gains. It seeks the eternal. It longs for a depth that cannot be rushed. And every moment you spend in frustration trying to summon a future that is not yet ripe, you forget that the future is not a prize at the end of your effort. It is a reflection of your inner state. Change your inner frequency, and you alter the orbit of your entire life. Shift from urgency to trust and watch how the world softens around you. There is nothing more powerful than a human being who has remembered their own divine rhythm and dares to follow it even when the world demands haste. The caterpillar does not doubt the cocoon. It does not fight the stillness or beg the sky for wings. It rests. It dissolves. It allows something sacred to remake it from within. And when the time is true, not a moment too soon, it emerges transformed. Let that be your metaphor. Let that be your medicine. You are not stuck. You are in the sacred pause before flight. And in that pause, you are being rewired, reshaped, renewed in ways that no external movement could ever provide. Do not rush this metamorphosis. Do not insult the divine with impatience. It is shaping you for a purpose your mind cannot yet conceive. Every delay you've cursed, every detour you've doubted, every closed door you've mourned. They were all necessary notes in the symphony of your life. And the symphony is not meant to be played at double speed. It must be heard, felt, lived. When you slow down enough to listen not to the noise, but to the silence beneath the noise, you begin to sense the divine choreography of your life. You realize that what you thought was random was a rhythm. What you feared was empty was full. What you resisted was love wearing the mask of time. You are not waiting for your life to begin. Your life is waiting for you to surrender. Not to give up, but to give in. To stop gripping the steering wheel with white knuckles and start allowing the intelligence of the universe to drive. It knows the way. It always has. You are not being led astray. You are being led deeper. And depth is never late. For what is depth, if not the courage to remain with yourself in the hollow spaces? Those moments when nothing seems to move and yet everything is shifting beneath the surface. This is the paradox of divine timing. It appears as stillness, but it moves like thunder beneath the earth. You cannot always see it, but you are always being moved by it. There are years when it seems nothing blooms. You water your soul with prayers. You till the soil of your life with effort, and still the harvest delays. But beloved soul, not every year is for blooming. Some years are for rooting, for going deeper into the invisible layers of your being, where no eye can see and no clock can measure. And in that rooting, you are preparing the foundation for a life that can hold the magnitude of the light you are destined to carry. Divine timing is not about immediate results. It is about eternal resonance. It is not interested in convenience. It is aligned with cosmic precision. The deeper truth is this: life is not unfolding by your plan. It is unfolding by your pattern, and your pattern is woven from every thought you nourish, every truth you honor, every moment you choose trust over fear. You see, timing is not random. It is responsive. It does not obey your demands, but it does mirror your energy. When you emit urgency, the world becomes chaotic. When you breathe trust, life becomes orchestral. Every player knows their part. Every note arrives in harmony. There is music playing beneath your circumstances. But if you are too busy judging the silence, you will miss the sacred crescendo. Divine timing does not play for the impatient. It plays for the aware. This awareness is your only real task, not to force outcomes, but to feel your way into alignment. And when you do, life begins to meet you with elegance. People arrive not a moment early, not a moment late. Doors open with a whisper. Answers find you when you have stopped asking from fear and begun listening from peace. Do not curse the empty room. It is where the divine arranges your furniture. Do not despise the locked gate. It is where the divine tends to your garden. You are not being punished by the pauses in your life. You are being polished. Polished in silence, polished in solitude, polished in the sacred waiting room of transformation. The oak tree inside the acorn does not ask for a shortcut. It trusts the dark. It trusts the slow unraveling of its potential. And so must you trust that even in your waiting, you are becoming. The truth is, your soul is never late. It is eternal. It is vast. And it is free of the fear that grips the mind and demands speed over meaning. What if the delay you dread is the very protection you need? What if the love that didn't arrive yet was not a rejection, but a redirection towards something more aligned? What if the dream that hasn't manifested is still being shaped, not out there, but in you? You are not here to chase time. You are here to dissolve into the rhythm of a divine intelligence that knows your soul's coordinates, even when you feel lost. That has charted every storm, every sunbeam, every surrender that will lead you to your greatest unfolding. And when you finally arrive, when that long-awaited blessing touches your hands, it will not feel rushed. It will not feel overdue. It will feel like it was always meant to be, because it was. Not because you controlled it, but because you became it. This is the sacred alchemy of divine timing. It does not bring you what you want when you want it. It brings you what you are when you are ready to hold it in truth, not just in desire. So trust the slow magic. Trust the invisible weaving. Trust that right now, this very breath is not a pause in your story. It is a paragraph the universe is still writing with exquisite care. Can you feel it? The truth behind the tension, the knowing behind the noise. You are not waiting. You are becoming, and becoming takes time, holy, perfect, unhurried time. You were not born into this life to sprint toward imagined destinations. You were born to awaken slowly like the dawn. And like the dawn, your becoming cannot be rushed by demand, only welcomed by surrender. There is no faster path to the sunrise, only deeper stillness to receive its warmth. Every experience that delays your desires, every pause that interrupts your plans is not here to withhold the future. It is here to reveal the divine architecture of your becoming. You are being carved, not punished. You are being shaped, not stalled. The delays are not the denial of your truth. They are the deepening of it. Divine timing does not care for surface wants. It cares for the shape of your soul. And so it waits until the vessel of you has grown strong enough, wide enough, soft enough to hold the very thing you once begged for from a place of need, what you call delay. The divine calls protection from a blessing becoming a burden, from a dream arriving to a version of you not yet ready to hold it with reverence. We ask the sky for miracles, but the sky asks us to become the space that can house them. And so the waiting, the aching, the nights when the stars seem too far, these are not punishments. They are ceremonies of preparation. The seed in the soil does not panic in darkness. It listens to the rhythm of the rain. It trusts the silent wisdom of time. And when it breaks through the surface, it does so not in desperation, but in alignment with the sun, with the season, with the sacred whisper of divine order. Your life is no different. The callings in your heart are not empty wishes, they are coded messages from the divine reminding you of the path your soul signed up to walk. But those callings do not unfold according to ego's urgency. They open in accordance with your energetic readiness. The more you try to rush it, the more it eludes you, not because it is cruel, but because it is too holy to be summoned by force. Divine timing is not interested in speed. It is concerned with sanctity. It does not bring you the next chapter until you have finished reading the current one with open eyes and a soft heart. You cannot skip to the ending and expect the depth of the journey to fill you. Let go of the need to see every turn ahead. You are not the map maker. You are the traveler, and the path unfolds not because you figured it out, but because you trusted the next step even when it appeared invisible. And how many times, beloved soul, have you looked back on the chapters you once mourned, the delays, the breakups, the empty rooms, and seen the hand of grace moving silently behind them all? You did not know it then, but your sorrow was sacred. Your confusion was a corridor. Your longing was not weakness, but prophecy. The divine was never withholding. The divine was weaving people into place, lessons into shape, strength into the softness of your being. You are not merely walking a path. You are becoming the path itself. And that becoming cannot be rushed. It is eternal. It is intimate. It is divinely on time. You are not too late, not for your healing, not for your joy, not for your miracle. If it has not arrived yet, it is because something greater is still being breathed into form. And that greater is not just the event. It is the you that will greet it. The you that no longer needs to chase. The you that radiates magnetism from presence, not performance. Your magnetism does not lie in how much you do, but in how much you allow, in how deeply you trust the wisdom that forms stars and galaxies to now form the next chapter of your life. Not from your striving, but from your surrender. It is in this surrender that divine timing finds its home in you. And when it does, everything aligns. You no longer beg life for evidence. You walk as the evidence. You no longer demand signs. You live as the sign. You no longer seek certainty. You carry it within. Because the deeper you move into trust, the more time begins to bend around you. You find yourself in the right places at the right moments with the right people. Not by effort, but by essence. Not by force, but by frequency. Your life becomes a prayer not spoken, but embodied. This is not fantasy. This is the physics of the soul. The more you remember who you are, timeless, divine, already whole, the less you grip the reins of time, and the more time begins to serve your becoming. Divine timing is never late because it does not operate on the ego's calendar. It arrives when your inner world is ripe. And when it does, what once seemed impossible now feels inevitable. So do not resist the waiting. Do not shame the pause. Do not abandon the quiet season. It is in these sacred still points where the soul grows its deepest roots, where clarity returns like the morning sun after the longest night. And when the moment arrives, the one you've prayed for, cried for, dreamed into being, it will arrive not as a reward for your suffering, but as a natural extension of your alignment. You will not need to grab for it. It will be placed into your hands like a gift already written in your stars. Because what is written for you is not rushed. It is revealed. And when it is revealed, you will know without a doubt, without a clock, that divine timing was never late. It was waiting for you to become the version of yourself who could finally receive what was never withheld, only sacredly delayed. We are taught to hurry as though salvation lives in speed. As though joy can be caught like a bus you're about to miss. But joy does not wait at the end of acceleration. It flowers in presence. It grows in the garden of patience, nurtured by trust and tended with silence. What the mind calls wasted time, the soul knows as sacred gestation. You do not plant a seed and demand the tree overnight. You do not bake a loaf and scream at the oven to hurry. You understand that transformation, true and lasting, honors the timing of essence, not expectation. And so it is with your life. There are chambers within you still being prepared to hold the light you've prayed for. There are patterns unraveling so quietly that you may mistake their undoing for stagnation. But listen closely beneath what seems unmoving. Your soul is shifting mountains. You do not have to see it to believe it. You only have to trust the nature of all things sacred. They begin in silence. The miracle grows in the womb of waiting. The lotus blooms from the deepest mud. And the most profound awakenings come not with fire, but with stillness. That is the paradox of divine timing. It feels like nothing until it feels like everything. One day, what you've been calling delay will reveal itself as perfect arrival. The doors that wouldn't open weren't broken, they were being aligned. The people who left weren't punishment, they were space makers. The prayers that went unanswered weren't ignored, they were stored, nourished by something far wiser than the mind. We forget sometimes that we are made of the same essence as stars born from stardust, sustained by breath, guided by light. And just as the stars cannot rush their own birth, neither can you. Your light is rising quietly, surely, and not all will understand the timing of your glow. Some will say you should have arrived by now, others will wonder why it's taken so long. But divine timing is not democratic. It does not seek votes of approval. It is a whisper between your soul and the source from which it came. And that whisper is saying, now is not too late. Now is not too early. Now is the only moment you are meant to be in. There is no milestone that defines your worth, no benchmark that validates your belonging. The oak does not envy the speed of the rose. The river does not compete with the clouds. Each flows, each grows, each becomes what it is meant to become in perfect rhythm with the divine intelligence that authored their design. And you are authored by the same hand. Why do you doubt what already knows its way? Why do you resist the very timing that has carried you this far? What if your only real task is not to speed up the process, but to sanctify it, to bless each step, not for where it's taking you, but for who you are becoming as you walk it? The cocoon does not apologize for its quiet. It does not hurry to prove its transformation. It surrenders utterly, completely to the process that only stillness can facilitate. And when the wings are ready, they emerge not with struggle but with grace. Let this be your reminder. Nothing holy is ever late. No sacred calling is ever wasted. No true becoming is ever rushed. If you are in a season of waiting, know this. It is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the divine aligning stars you cannot yet see and removing obstacles you didn't know were in your path. It is the sacred hush before the song, the inhale before the poem begins. And when it begins, it will not ask if you're ready. It will arrive when your readiness is no longer a question, but a presence, a quiet yes that lives not in your words, but in your energy. You will no longer need to chase. You will no longer need to beg life for openings. You will have become the opening. You will have become the space through which divine timing enters the world fluid, effortless, and profoundly on time. So release your grip on the clock, breathe deeper into the now, and listen not with your ears, but with your whole being as the sacred rhythm of your life continues to unfold in perfect time as it always has. Then come now, beloved soul, to this closing stillness, not as one who has reached an end, but as one who has awakened to the truth that there was never a race to begin with. This journey, so richly layered, so divinely choreographed, was never about getting somewhere. It was always about returning to trust, returning to presence, returning to the perfect patient rhythm of your own becoming. Divine timing is not a concept to be understood. It is a living melody to be felt. And now, as you listen more deeply, can you hear it pulsing within you? Not outside, not in the future, but in the breath you are taking now. This moment is not a stepping stone. It is the sanctuary, the temple, the arrival disguised as ordinary life. All that you have waited for, all that you believed was delayed or lost, it was not waiting to appear. It was waiting for you to stop searching and start remembering. Because in truth, divine timing does not operate in distance. It moves in resonance. And when your energy aligns with what you seek, it arrives not because you chased it, but because you became it. Look gently at the path behind you. Can you see now how every delay was a door, every detour a doorway? Every no, a blessing not yet translated by the mind. Can you see how what once felt like endings were actually introductions to deeper chapters of yourself? The divine was never withholding from you. It was weaving you into the very answer you were searching for. Even your waiting was sacred because it taught you how to listen, how to surrender, how to trust a rhythm that your calendar could never capture. And in that surrender, you were not weakened. You were fortified, softened, yes, but with a kind of softness that can move mountains. You did not become less by waiting. You became more patient, more aligned, more whole. You have not missed your moment. It has been within you all along. It rises not like a deadline, but like the dawn, unhurried, unstoppable, quietly luminous. And now you understand what the soul has whispered all along. Divine timing is not something you wait for. It is something you become. When you trust, when you surrender, when you no longer measure your worth by outcomes or clocks, you step into harmony with a universe that has never once been late. You are not behind. You are not early. You are exactly where you need to be for your next breath of truth to enter. So breathe, beloved. Inhale the peace of presence. Exhale the story of delay. And walk forward, not fast, not frantic, but rooted in the deep, knowing that every step you take from this place is right on time. Let the world chase what fades. Let your soul dwell in what endures. You do not need to predict the future. You only need to align with the now. And in this now, the sacred becomes visible. In this now, the waiting turns to wonder. In this now, the question dissolves into peace. You are not waiting for your life to begin. You are living it right here, right now. And this moment is not late. It is divine. There is a sacred intelligence flowing through everything, through the stillness of the forest, through the crashing of the waves, through the heartbeat that pulses within your chest. It is the same intelligence that keeps the planets in orbit without asking them to strive. The same force that turns an acorn into an oak, that paints the skies in hues no human hand could ever replicate. This is not randomness. This is not chaos. This is design sacred, silent, and sure. And you, dear soul, are part of this holy unfolding. You were never dropped into this life as an accident. You are not a random flicker in a dark cosmos. You are a thread in the divine tapestry that weaves galaxies into being. And though you may not always see the pattern, though your eyes may fill with tears and your heart tremble beneath the weight of unanswered prayers, still the universe is not confused. The plan is not unraveled. The path has not disappeared. What feels like uncertainty is often just the soul being asked to trust more deeply. There is a divine timing beyond your intellect, a sacred rhythm deeper than your fears. Like the tide, your life rises and falls, not to harm you, but to shape you, to mold you, to hollow you in the places where the light must enter. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are exactly where the universe needs you to be for your becoming to unfold. It's hard. I know it's hard to trust when the road ahead disappears into mist. It's hard to breathe when the heart is heavy with what might never be. But the soul was never designed to see the whole map. It was designed to listen, to feel, to respond to the gentle nudges, the quiet callings, the soft currents that pull you toward your truth without explanation. Rumi once wrote, "Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you." And that is the essence of trust, not a blind faith in outcomes, but a deep surrender to presence. A knowing that even if the form changes, the essence remains divine. That even when doors close, it is only to redirect you to a greater alignment with your spirit's calling. The ego will clamor for guarantees. It will demand certainty, plans, and control. But the soul whispers a softer language, one of surrender, one of trust, one of deep inner knowing that everything is always unfolding for your highest good, even when it doesn't feel like it. You see, the pain was never punishment. It was pruning. The loss was never rejection. It was redirection. And the delay was always preparation. You are being shaped not for the life your ego imagined, but for the life your soul chose before time began. And so breathe not to fill your lungs, but to remember your belonging. The breath has always been your first teacher. It comes without force. It goes without fear. It doesn't ask where the wind is heading. It simply trusts the exhale. This is the way the universe works. Not through tension, not through force, but through easeful surrender to what island. The trees do not grasp at the sky, they rise into it. The rivers do not question the bends, they flow through them. So why must you demand to see the horizon when the next step is already enough? You are not here to micromanage the infinite. You are here to harmonize with it, to tune the strings of your heart to the silent music that underpins all of life. There is an order beneath the disorder. There is clarity within the confusion. The caterpillar does not curse the cocoon. It allows the darkness to be the temple of transformation. And so must you allow the not knowing to be your sacred ground. Do not rush it. Do not force it. Let the Christus do its holy work. There is a reason your path has curved through detours and delays. Had you arrived too soon, your hands would not have been ready to hold the blessing. Your spirit was still softening, still stretching, still preparing to become the vessel through which miracles can flow. And now, piece by piece, breath by breath, that readiness is taking root, not through striving, but through releasing the need to know how it will all unfold. The oak does not grow faster by doubting the soil. The sun does not rise quicker because the world pleads for morning. Trust, beloved, is not a passive state. It is the most active alignment you can choose. It is saying, I will keep walking even when the map disappears. It is saying, I will bless the pause, for I know it is sacred. It is saying, I will not confuse stillness with stagnation, for the seed rests before it blooms. There is a rhythm you cannot yet hear, and yet you are dancing to it. Every setback was a note in the song, every heartbreak a chord in the symphony. Nothing has been wasted. Not a tear, not a sleepless night, not a single moment of confusion. They are all pages in the sacred book of your becoming. You have not taken a wrong turn. You have taken the only turn that could lead you back to your soul. Even the longing is part of the design, for longing is not a sign of lack. It is a homing beacon, a call from the future you toward the present you. It is the divine magnet pulling you home, not to a destination, but to an awareness that you were never forsaken. You are never alone. You are never forgotten. The universe does not abandon its creations. The same intelligence that orchestrates the galaxies whispers your name in every breath, not because it needs you to achieve or earn or prove anything, but because it loves through you. It creates through you. It experiences itself through your eyes, your hands, your laughter, your tears. And it guides you not always with signs you understand, but always with truth that your heart recognizes. Trust is not a conclusion. It is a practice, a daily return to the knowing that life is not a test. It is a teaching, and every lesson is an invitation to go deeper, not outward, but inward into the stillness that has never lied, into the silence that is never left, into the sacred inner compass that points not to a goal, but to your essence. You were not meant to live this life trying to force open closed doors, nor to endlessly worry about whether the timing is right. You were meant to become the kind of being who trusts the closing as much as the opening, who rever the silence as deeply as the song. Because the universe in all its perfection does not operate on your schedule. It operates on your soul's unfolding. It is not here to match your plans. It is here to reveal your purpose. And that purpose is not always revealed in words or visions or dramatic awakenings. Sometimes it comes softly through the loneliness that strips you down to your essence, through the failure that humbles you back into your heart, through the waiting that teaches you to love without conditions. These are not punishments, they are initiations. The universe is not withholding from you. It is deepening you. And that deepening, that sacred stretch into more of yourself cannot be rushed. You cannot demand the ocean to calm its waves, nor the moon to hasten her rise. What is meant for you is already held in the hands of the divine. But the hands of the divine do not shake. They do not tremble with anxiety. They do not panic. They hold you as you are held by the breath gently, consistently, eternally. There are currents moving beneath the surface of your life that you cannot yet see. But just because you cannot see the tide doesn't mean it isn't carrying you home. Let yourself be carried. Let yourself be softened by the journey. Even when it takes longer than your mind had hoped, the ego wants arrival. The soul longs for experience. And trust is a sacred bridge between the two. You are not here to master life. You are here to be mastered by love, by the kind of love that doesn't come wrapped in guarantees, but in growth, by the kind of love that doesn't always bring comfort, but always brings truth. And truth is rarely loud. It comes like a breath at midnight, like a warm breeze through a cracked window. It comes when you stop demanding answers and start living the questions. When you stop shouting at the sky and start listening to the silence, you are not forgotten. You are being formed like clay in the hands of a potter. You are being spun, stretched, refined until you can hold the sacred within you. Not because you were broken, but because you were always sacred. It's just that the cracks allow more light to pour in. And that light is not just for you. It is for those around you. You are not just being guided for your sake. You are being transformed into a guide for others. Every delay, every no, every heart hatch has been preparing you to walk with more compassion, to speak with more truth, to love with more depth. Nothing was wasted. Nothing. So can you trust it now? Not because you see the outcome, but because you feel the presence that lives in your chest when you stop trying to control, the presence that speaks not in thoughts, but in peace, the presence that says you don't need to understand, you need only to allow. Let this be your practice. Not the endless hustle for clarity, but the sacred return to stillness. The stillness that says, yes, even this belongs. The stillness that reminds you the universe is not late. It is precise. It is exact. It is holy. And so are every encounter, every tear, every serendipitous meeting, every aching goodbye. They are all threads in a tapestry far too vast for your eyes to see. You cannot yet perceive the full image. But the weaver is not confused. The weaver is not hurried. The weaver sees the end from the beginning and continues with perfect patience, even when your faith frays at the edges. You may wonder, why the waiting? Why the silence? Why must I walk through valleys when I long for the mountaintop? But the universe knows what the ego does not, that you do not find your light by fleeing the darkness. You find it by becoming the flame within it, not by resisting what is, but by allowing it to awaken the parts of you that have not yet fully lived. The soil must be broken for the seed to rise. The sky must darken before the stars become visible. So it is with your becoming. You were never meant to bypass the shadows. You were meant to remember that even here, even now, even in the middle of your confusion or despair, there is a light inside you that has never gone out. That light has been waiting for your surrender. Not the kind of surrender that gives up, but the kind that lets go. Lets go of needing to know. Lets go of trying to fix. Lets go of clinging to a version of life that no longer fits the vastness of who you are becoming. And yes, it will feel like loss. But what if the loss is actually clearing space? What if the crumbling is not the end, but the sacred beginning of something more honest, more whole, more beautifully aligned? You do not have to fear what is leaving. You only have to trust what is coming. There is a plan, a divine choreography. And every heartbreak, every breakdown, every unexpected twist was not a deviation from the path. It was the path. You see, the soul doesn't evolve through certainty. It evolves through surrender, through the courage to say, I do not know what's next, but I trust the next step will appear when I am ready. Through the quiet strength that refuses to close its heart, even when the world offers every reason to. This trust is not the kind you manufacture with affirmations or declarations. It is the kind that arises from deep within like a wellspring that cannot be explained. It is born in the silence, forged in the fire, and confirmed in the still small moments when everything else fades, and you feel the whisper, keep going. This is not the end. You are not being punished. You are being purified. The false is falling away. The roles, the masks, the stories you inherited from a world that taught you to fear, they are dissolving. And what remains is the real you, the you that was never separate from love, the you that was never disconnected from divine wisdom, the you that has always been held, guided, and known. And when you stop resisting what is, you begin to see what always was, that there is a sacredness in every turn of your life, that even the pieces you wanted to discard are part of the masterpiece. You don't have to know where this is all leading. You only have to remember where it all begins from within. From the quiet center that has never been lost, from the still point inside you that does not shift with the winds of life. That is your anchor. That is your home. And when you begin to live from that place, something miraculous happens. The fear softens, the striving slows. The path, though still winding, begins to shine with a kind of quiet beauty. Because now you're not walking with anxiety. You're walking with trust, with reverence, with a deep, unwavering knowing that you are not alone. The same presence that turns caterpillars into butterflies, that brings spring back after the darkest winter, that moves the tide without effort. That same presence lives within you, moves through you, whispers through your intuition in your dreams, and the sacred ache in your chest that refuses to let you settle for anything less than truth. And so trust, not because you've seen the proof, but because you feel the pull. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are becoming. And the universe, the beautiful, infinite, wise universe, is not making a mistake with your life. There is something within you that has never doubted, not for a single moment. Beneath the noise of the mind and the tremble of uncertainty, beneath the aching need to understand and the longing to arrive, there is something still, something ancient, something steady. And it has watched every turn of your life with the calm of one who knows the ending before the first line is even spoken. It is the divine observer, the quiet flame, the original awareness that chose to incarnate not to be protected from life, but to participate in it fully. It did not come to avoid storms. It came to become the I within them. It did not come to avoid suffering. It came to discover how grace can arise even there in the shattered places like flowers breaking through concrete. So many times you have cried out, "Why this? Why now?" And the answer, though rarely in words, has always been because your soul asked to grow. And this is how you grow. And what is growth if not the shedding of what no longer serves the truth of your being? What is growth if not the death of the mask and the birth of the soul's expression? It is not always gentle. It is not always easy, but it is always sacred. The universe does not abandon you in the fire. It holds you through it. It does not prevent the waves. It teaches you to breathe underwater. It does not promise comfort. It promises depth. And in that depth, you begin to touch a power not born of ego or effort, but of alignment. You begin to sense a plan that was never about control, but about connection. You see, the plan was never to protect you from every fall. It was to reveal to you that you could rise again. The plan was never to pave your path in ease. It was to awaken within you the strength to walk barefoot through uncertainty with your head lifted toward the stars. The plan was not to give you everything your ego desired, but to give you everything your soul needed to remember itself. And now you are remembering, not all at once, not in some grand epiphany, but in subtle shifts in the quiet courage that rises with the dawn, in the way you begin to soften instead of close, in the way you begin to bless the past instead of curse it, in the way you begin to hear your own voice clear and strong, guiding you not toward more of the world, but toward more of yourself. This is what trust looks like, not blind obedience, but intimate relationship. A dance between your free will and the rhythm of the divine. A daily choice to return to the truth. That even when it hurts, even when it confuses you, even when it feels like you're walking through fog, the universe is not lost. It sees you. It knows you. It has never taken its eyes off you. And if you could step back just for a moment and see the full picture, you would fall to your knees in awe. You would weep not from sadness, but from the overwhelming beauty of how it's all been perfectly placed. Every encounter, every goodbye, every seemingly random delay, you would see the divine fingerprints on every inch of your path. But until that day comes, you are invited to trust. To trust not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. Trust is not something you learn. It is something you remember. You were born trusting. You were born soft. You were born open. You were born with the knowing that you were held, that you are guided, that you belong to something infinite and unshakable. And that knowing is still within you, beneath the scars, beneath the conditioning, beneath the wariness and the striving and the doubt. That knowing still lives, waiting, breathing, beckoning you home. And as you begin to live from that knowing, the world begins to change. Not because the circumstances suddenly improve, but because your eyes begin to see differently. The mess becomes medicine. The waiting becomes sacred. The unknown becomes holy. And the question changes from when will things fall into place to can I bless this moment exactly as it is. For when you do, you step into the plan. Not the one your mind wrote, but the one your soul signed long before you arrived. And in that plan, nothing is missing. Everything belongs. This is the moment when something in you begins to settle. The breath finds its natural rhythm. The heart, once racing for some distant future, now learns to beat with the patience of the stars. The noise begins to fall away, not because the world has grown quiet, but because your attention has turned inward to the place where eternity whispers. You are no longer searching for the plan. You are starting to become it. With every step you take in trust, every act of surrender, every tear you no longer hide, you are merging with the divine design that was never outside of you. And what a beautiful, mysterious planet island, one that does not unfold in straight lines, but in spirals. One that does not cater to the ego's need for speed, but to the soul's need for truth. There is no map for this. Only presence, only the next breath. Only the sacred yes that rises in your chest when everything else says, wait. And yet somehow you know it's time. Time to stop delaying your joy until the conditions are right. Time to stop believing that life must look a certain way to feel meaningful. Time to stop thinking the divine is waiting somewhere down the road when it has been walking beside you all along in the silence and the struggle and the beauty of this very breath. Do not underestimate the power of where you are now. Do not dismiss this moment because it lacks the glitter of achievement. This moment is not a placeholder. It is a portal. It is the doorway through which the sacred enters. And only by being fully here can you begin to see what has always been true, that the divine does not reveal the whole path. It reveals itself in the step you're standing on. So take it. Take this step with trembling hands or steady feet. With full certainty or flickering hope, it does not matter. The universe does not require your perfection. It requires your participation. It requires your willingness to be present, to listen, to follow the quiet impulse of truth, even when the world tells you to run the other way. This is what it means to live in trust, to follow not the fear but the feeling, to know that not everything must make sense in order to be sacred. That some of the most important parts of your journey will only be understood in retrospect. And even then, you will see how beautifully the dots connected, how perfectly the lessons arrived, how masterfully your soul was being guided. You are being guided even now, even in the uncertainty, even in the pause. Especially in the pause. This sacred stillness is not nothing happening. It is everything realigning. Do not confuse the quiet for absence. The quiet is where the voice of the universe becomes loudest. If you listen not with your ears, but with your being, you will begin to hear it. In the sigh that leaves your lips when you finally let go. In the flutter in your chest when something just feels right. In the sudden peace that arrives for no reason at all. This is the voice of alignment. This is the language of the plan. It doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in resonance, in vibration, in the magnetic pull that draws you toward what you were always meant to become. You don't need to force it. You don't need to chase it. You only need to keep saying yes to what feels true. And when you do, the right people arrive, the right opportunities unfold, the path reveals itself, not all at once, but just enough to keep you moving in faith. There is no need to rush. What is yours cannot miss you. What is aligned with your soul will never need to be forced. And what is truly meant for you will always feel like peace. Not in every moment, but in your deepest knowing. That is the sign. That is the plan. And you, beloved soul, are right on time. This is where the story deepens, not into complexity, but into truth. For as you begin to live in harmony with the unfolding of life, you stop trying to rewrite the script. You stop trying to outrun the present moment. And instead you begin to listen not for answers, but for alignment. Not for reassurance, but for resonance. It is here in the quiet acceptance of what is that you begin to feel something shift. You no longer ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, the question transforms. What is this revealing within me? You no longer see the unexpected as a disruption. You begin to see it as instruction. Every delay becomes a doorway. Every detour becomes divine choreography. Because when you begin to trust the plan, you stop needing to control it. You stop demanding that life follow your timeline. You stop insisting that joy must arrive only after the checklist is complete. You begin to feel joy now in the breath, in the silence, in the simple act of existing with your heart open and your expectations softened. And in that softening, you meet grace, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a way of being. Grace doesn't enter through perfection. It enters through surrender, through the sacred unraveling of all that is not essential until only what is true remains. That is what the plan has always been leading you toward. The shedding of everything false so that your real self can emerge, the self that doesn't need to strive, the self that doesn't need to compare, the self that doesn't need to explain or prove or defend, just the self that's simply island. And oh, what power there is in that, to know that you are already enough, that your presence is a gift, that your being just as it is not a waiting room for worthiness, but the very expression of divine intention. When you walk through life from that place of deep trust, you become the still point in a spinning world. You begin to carry a peace that is not dependent on outcomes, a peace that cannot be taken away by changing circumstances, a peace that has nothing to do with everything going right and everything to do with you being right within yourself. And yes, the world may still rage. The storms may still come, but you will no longer be shaken because your roots are no longer in your achievements or your titles or your plans. Your roots are in something eternal, something unbreakable, something that was never born and can never die. That something is you, the real you, the light behind your eyes, the breath beneath your breath, the presence that has walked with you through every dark night, every unspoken ache, every silent prayer. It has never left. And now you are beginning to return to it. Not by seeking, not by striving, but by stopping. Stopping long enough to hear the wisdom rising from your own depths. Stopping long enough to feel the stillness that has always been speaking. Stopping long enough to remember the universe has always had a plan, not because it needed to fix you, but because it already knew you were whole. And the journey was never to become worthy. The journey was always to remember that you already are. You have walked with me through this, remembering each breath a step back home, each truth a light through the fog. And now here we are, not at the edge of understanding, but at the heart of it. And what does the heart say when all the noise has gone quiet? It says trust. Trust not as a wish, but as a way of being. Trust not because the future is known, but because you are known intimately, completely, eternally. You are not lost. You have never been. You are not forgotten. You have always been carried. Even when your hands felt empty, even when your nights were long, even when the road made no sense and the map had burned in your hands, the path was still unfolding beneath your feet. This plan, this holy, sacred, beautifully mysterious plan was never about leading you to something outside of yourself. It was always about leading you back into the place before striving, to the stillness before identity, to the truth before words. It has taken form as people, places, choices, and changes. It has appeared as heartbreak and healing, as confusion and clarity, as beginning and ending. But beneath every disguise, the same voices echoed, "Trust me, I know the way." And now so do you, because now you've tasted it. That sweet, silent knowing that you are not at the mercy of the world. You are woven into its fabric. You are not separate from the divine. You are its expression. The stars that you've prayed under, the winds you've whispered to, the quiet ache you've carried through the years, they have all conspired to bring you here to this breath, to this moment, to this remembering. You are not the architect of the plan. You are its sacred unfolding. And life is not waiting for you to master it. It is waiting for you to trust it, to partner with it, to co-create with it, not through force, but through presence, not through pressure, but through peace. Let this be the moment you choose to stop doubting what your soul has already claimed. Let this be the moment you exhale the need to know and inhale the grace of being guided. Let this be the moment you forgive the past, bless the mystery, and say yes, not just with your words, but with your being. You were never behind. You were never broken. You were never without purpose. You are only being prepared to remember that the universe always has a plan, and it is more loving, more intelligent, more generous than your mind could ever imagine. So walk on, beloved soul, not with haste, but with reverence, not with fear, but with devotion, not with certainty of what lies ahead, but with the certainty that whatever comes, it will meet you with divine intention. Because now you know, now you remember, now you trust.